Buenos días o buenas tardes o buenas noches a todos. Gracias por estar conmigo en este video. Yo soy Steven y quería hablar hoy sobre el tema de cómo encontrar oportunidades para hablar el idioma que está aprendiendo. Quería hablar de este tema el día de hoy. Um, y quería darle un poco de mi experiencia con esto. Yo cuando estaba más joven, cuando tenía no sé cuántos años, tal vez 15, 16 años, estaba aprendiendo el idioma francés y estaba viviendo en el estado de Vermont. Vermont es un estado en el norte de los Estados Unidos, cerca de la frontera con Canadá. Y quería hablarles de esto porque puedo pensar en dos situaciones, dos posibilidades. Uno, si uno está tratando de aprender un idioma que no se habla en su propio país, puede ser más difícil encontrar oportunidades. En cambio, si uno vive en un país donde se habla ese idioma, es mucho más fácil, no hay que ir buscando oportunidades. Uh, Aunque debo mencionar que a veces no es así, porque a veces uno puede ir a vivir en otro país y solo hablar con la gente de su propio país, aunque esté en un país extranjero. Entonces, puede ser que les cuesta a algunas personas encontrar oportunidades para hablar el idioma que está aprendiendo, aunque estén en ese país donde se habla ese idioma. Entonces, pero regresando al tema, quería mencionar o hablar un poquito sobre mi experiencia aprendiendo el idioma francés cuando tenía 15, 16 años. Me costaba mucho encontrar esas oportunidades. Y debo mencionar tal vez, o valdría la pena mencionar algunas cosas que hubiera hecho en esa época. Porque pensando, no hablé mucho el francés fuera de la escuela donde lo estaba aprendiendo. Pero en esa escuela sí tenía la oportunidad de hablar francés con el profesor y con mis colegas o mis compañeros. Entonces, una cosa que uno puede hacer seguramente es tomar clases en el idioma. Ahí en la clase puede insistir en que se hable ese idioma en el transcurso de la clase, porque a veces uno toma clases en francés o inglés y durante la clase no se habla francés o no se habla inglés. Entonces es necesario estar en una clase donde la comunicación está en el idioma que uno está aprendiendo. Um, Otra cosa que quería mencionar es, es que a veces hay oportunidades de hablar con hablantes de su idioma que está aprendiendo en su vida diaria, dependiendo eh, de la situación. Por ejemplo, um, allá en el Vermont donde estaba viviendo, en el verano, muchas veces la gente de Quebec eh, venía a los Estados Unidos o pasaban tiempo en el Vermont para sus vacaciones. Entonces, muchas veces pasaban gente de Canadá, de Quebec, eh, que hablaban francés y estaban allí en los centros comerciales o en los restaurantes o cuando uno va de caminata en las montañas, a veces se escucha el idioma francés en mi propio país. Entonces, a veces sí, yo creo que no recuerdo bien si en esa época hablaba mucho. Yo creo que estaba bastante tímido y no hablaba mucho con la gente. Pero sí había esa oportunidad porque habían turistas en mi país y entonces hubiera podido hablar con ellos. Yo creo que es un poco difícil, eh, pero uno a veces emociona cuando escucha, hay gente que están hablando ese idioma que estoy aprendiendo. Entonces, con eso uno puede decir algo. Están hablando francés o están hablando portugués o están hablando inglés. Yo estoy aprendiendo ese idioma. No sé si me podría contar un poco sobre usted o qué está haciendo aquí en los Estados Unidos o en este país, que sea en los Estados Unidos o que sea. Y creo que normalmente se recibe bien. O bueno, puede ser contextual, tal vez no es apropiado en algunas situaciones, pero en general yo creo que muchas veces la gente quiere hablar, entonces puede ser muy bueno tratar de hablar con la gente que están como en su país, con el turismo. Por ejemplo, los estadounidenses, cuando nosotros eh, viajamos a otros países, nos gusta, ¿verdad? Cuando nos habla. Bueno, probablemente queremos, si viajamos a algún país hispanohablante, queremos hablar español, pero cuando la gente nos habla en inglés también, es algo bonito, puede ser algo bonito. Depende también de cómo lo hace, ¿verdad? Es importante ser respetuoso con la gente. Yo creo que es muy importante y yo creo que es algo que he pensado también un poquito. Eh, Cómo hacerlo de forma respetuosa, ¿verdad? Entonces yo creo que es importante, bueno, no sé, reconocer que a veces la gente no quiere hablar o no está como, eh, no está en un, decimos en inglés, they're not in the mood to talk or they don't feel like talking. Um, no tienen ganas, digamos, de hablar. Y puede pasar, entonces es importante tratar de, we would say in English, try to read the situation, try to understand what the person is, or what if the person really wants to engage with you or not. If they don't want to engage with you, you can just leave them alone. But if they're interested and they feel like it feels to you like they want to engage, then that's a good opportunity to practice that language, right? And so um, yo creo que es un poco cuestión de eso, tratar de averiguar si realmente quiere o no quiere. Bueno, es un pensamiento, pero tal vez si usted está escuchando este video y está viviendo en un país en Sudamérica o Centroamérica o en México, tal vez se encuentra con inglés hablantes en su vida diaria. Entonces, es algo un poco, puede ser, como decimos, puede ser un poco tricky, puede ser eh, un poco difícil saber si realmente la persona quiere hablar o también introducir eh, o empezar la conversación puede ser difícil. Eh, depende mucho de how do you say it? Like, it's important to read someone's body language and to get a sense of if they might be open to having a conversation. Like in the train, for example, I'm looking at this photo of the train. It's probably more difficult to strike up a conversation in that situation, because it would be seen as might be seen as rude, or it might be seen as um, invasive or something like that if you start talking to someone in the train. Sometimes you can. Sometimes people don't mind and they want to strike up a conversation. But you might find that in other situations, you might find that other situations are more conducive to striking up a conversation. Like if you're in the park or something, or maybe like you're hanging out somewhere where a lot of tourists come to visit, and they're taking photos, and you can ask them, "Hey, would you like me to take your photo for you?" Something like that. That's a nice way to strike up a conversation, um, or point out something. Maybe you have something to tell them, like you know your city well, so you can say, "Did you know that this place, was built back in 1850 or whatever?" Like you can tell them information about your country. If you're talking to tourists, they're probably going to be really interested in hearing about it. But everything that you say, like obviously you want to say it in a respectful way. Um, entonces, um, well, I don't know. Maybe we'll stay. Maybe we can just stick with English for now, since this is a channel for learning English. I just wanted to speak Spanish a little bit to reach out to some of the Spanish language speakers. So we talked about learn like mostly we've talked about trying to find opportunities to speak English, or the target language, the language you're learning, when you live in a country where most people don't speak that language, right? Now, if you travel to another country, then the most important thing, I think, is to just be engaged, in daily life. Like if you travel to the United States, you know, make sure that your daily routine incorporates things that involve interacting with other people, other human beings. I think it's harder in the United States because our society is less a little bit less communal than in some other countries, and so people kind of do things by themselves a lot. And so you go to the grocery store, you might go through the self checkout line. You don't really go to like a market to buy things where you have to talk to people. You don't People don't really hang out on the street or things like that. And so it might be more difficult, like in the United States, to find opportunities. So you need to be more engaged. Like there's lots of things you can do. You can take classes. You can participate in clubs. You can do a lot of things that allow you to be connected with other people. And really, like the best thing you can do, whether it's in the United States or if it's in your own country, is to try to make friends with people who speak that language, and hang out with them and develop like a real relationship. And that will allow you to go deeper in conversation topics, not just talk about superficial things, but talk about stuff that is really go a little bit deeper, right? You can go a little bit deeper in your conversations and talk about things that are more profound. So trying to make friends, that can be difficult, like especially if you're in a foreign country, or even if you're in your own country. It's hard to find people who are nearby, who speak that language that you're trying to learn. One other thing that I'll mention is that you can connect with people. I really recommend like using language learning apps. Like the one that I've used in the past is called Tandem, and it allows you to connect with people, sometimes in your own area, or sometimes just in other parts of the world. Um, and either way, if you're able to build a connection, like maybe you start chatting with somebody and you build a good connection where you become friends, even if it's just virtually, you can have more, meaningful conversations, more in-depth conversations that are more profound, um, by using some app like that, like Tandem, that allows you to connect with people from other countries and making friends. Um, so I would recommend doing something like that. That's a good way to connect with people. And if in some cases you might be able to make a friend who lives nearby, and maybe you can connect with them. You want to be careful on those apps. Obviously, there's a lot of people that run scams and things like that, or people who are disrespectful, right? So you want to kind of screen people out the best that you can. And if you kind of suspect, you're not sure, but you think they might be kind of running a scam or something like that, I would just completely stop the conversation with them. Um, and try to find connections that you feel confident are genuine people with good intentions, and try to work from there. um, so I haven't used a lot of different apps like that, but I have used this app called Tandem. So that's that can be a good, that could be a good option or a good way to connect with people. Um, and so you've got those virtual connections, and then there's also, obviously there's like things like online classes too. I used to teach English on Cambly. Cambly is a platform that connects native English speakers with English learners in different parts of the world, and it's mostly just conversational English. So you find a teacher or a tutor, and you meet with them, and they can go through lessons with you and stuff like that, or you could read articles or things. But I would find that like not 95% of the time, but at least 50% of the time, when I taught on Cambly, most people just wanted to have a conversation, and they just wanted to practice their English. And so I think that's a good platform for doing that, which is Cambly. So, but I mean, there's tons of different platforms, and people teach privately as well. I teach privately too. So if you ever want to take classes with me, conversational classes, we can talk about that and schedule those. But there's a lot of different ways that you can connect with people. Try to be creative. Think about whether you might have the opportunity to travel. Like if you're trying to learn English, think about if there's any way that you could have the opportunity to travel to an English-speaking country. And if not, there's a lot. The cool thing about English is that it's like one of the most spoken languages in the world. And so, you're always going to find content. You're always going to find, ways that you can immerse yourself in English, even if you can't find anybody to speak with or a friend who speaks English, or you don't want to spend money on classes. You can always find content in English that you can listen to. On YouTube, you can find, all kinds of media, news media. You can listen to podcasts. You can watch series. There's so much that's just available for free, and so English is one of these languages that really you can learn it from anywhere. You don't have to travel to another country. You can immerse yourself just by finding that content and listening to it. But do make the effort to try to get to know people who speak English, because it will help you. If you can develop relationships with people that you genuinely like, and people that you genuinely want to get to know better, that really kind of gives you a lot of motivation to continue, and makes the journey a lot more interesting and exciting. So I will leave it there for today, I think, or for this video. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to me. I hope this was helpful. Leave a comment if you have a comment about what we talked about or what I talked to you guys about today. Maybe your experience was different than mine. I'm sure there were. I'm sure your own experience has been. I'm sure your own experiences have been different, and everybody has a unique experience. So leave a comment below, below the video if you want to share with us what kind of what your experience has been trying to find people to practice with, to practice your target language with. All right, we'll leave it there for the day. Hope you guys have a great day or a great night, depending on what time it is, and I hope to see you in the next video. Peace.